I may not have posted anything lately, but that doesn't mean I haven't been working like a dog, actually. That motor is in the process of being put together. This one we're still tearing down, and the place is a total mess. But anyway, some things are happening. I just haven't had anything good to post. This is the primary project I've been working on. You can't believe how long everything takes nowadays. This guy, he wanted to buy a 383 to put in his car. He's blind, and he's never, obviously, can't drive the car, but he wants his car running. And I can appreciate that, and I totally understand. And I really wasn't excited about the idea, but after meeting him, they live about 200 miles away. His son-in-law drove him up here, and after meeting him, he was so excited about getting his car running, and they're all happy, the family, and they're excited and they're appreciative, and you just can't help but want to do right for the guy, you know what I mean? So this is the project, or building a 383 is the project. But I've culled this block because there's no hot tanks around here. You'd have to get it clean, you'd have to get all that paint boiled out of it, that cheap red stuff. That must be a can of Rust-Oleum from Dollar General or something. But the main problem was over there, the rust in the cylinders. It wouldn't clean up on the pistons I've got. But here's one of my main problems on this right now. I'll show you the block I found to replace this one. And this block, which is a 70 or 71, I realize that some 70 and 71s were cast crank. And by the way, there's I think it's an E on the pad there, but to identify that. But the crank I got with it, it's too rusty and I can't read it. But the crank I got with it is a cast crank. It's actually a 400 crank, so we know that it's not the one for that block. So I'm wondering, is that cast crank? Everybody tells me that the only thing different, that the rods and pistons are the same, and you just have to have the cast crank balancer and flex plate or flywheel. So if all of that is correct, then I don't have to worry about pistons and rods. Just use that crank. It looks real nice, and then I've got some rod. You know, I can make all that work, but I just want to make sure that I've been told correctly, that the cast crank takes the cast balancer and the weighted flywheel or pressure plate, and you know, everything else is the same. Because I'm a Hemi guy. I don't know anything about a wedge, and I don't know anything about cast cranks. I don't know anything about this stuff. And I'm having to learn everything as I go, like I'm 18 all over again. But that's the main project, and we'll look at this block that I got to replace it in a minute. But yeah, for a blind guy that just wants his car put together, he wants to hear it run, wants a little thump in the cam, so I ordered him I said, well, that's okay. I said, they have a cam, Comp makes a cam named a thumper. Oh, yeah, I like that. So that's what I got him. Otherwise, it's going to be stock with an Edelbrock and probably a Holly, and, you know, just regular old stuff. But sure does take a lot of time sourcing all these parts. You know, I don't have wedge parts. Looks like I'm going to have to hit Joe up on some of this. So I found this 383 block. I think this is a 70 or 71. It is in good shape, and the cylinders look like they're going to clean on 20 over, which is nice. But it got some rust on the deck here, and so that means that that's going to have to be decked, which, you know what that means. These dowel pins aren't going to want to come out, and so you're going to have to weld a nut on there and slide hammer all those dowels out and get that machine down. And of course, it's got those 13 30-seconds square plugs everywhere that there's no such thing as a socket for. So I still hadn't found anything, but I found this Chinese thing you see on the 3 a.m. infomercials, you know, where it's supposed to fit anything. You just stick it in there, and so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to use that induction heater. That thing really does work, and do it like I did last time, where you don't quit when you just see the head glowing. Heat it till you get that down in the threads where you're supposed to be getting the action at. And then you stick that on there, and hopefully that thing will come out. At least that's my plan. It sounded good, didn't it? This is one of those blocks that I paid to have hot tanked, and it looks a lot better now with this honing oil on it, but it actually looks absolutely horrendous. So after hauling all those blocks around to various places, trying to get them cleaned up, I finally gave up on the... All I could think of to do was, I had this old ultrasonic unit that I was never going to get running, and so I converted it. That took several days, and I had a day to go get it, and I'm converting it to a evaporust tank. Now, of course, you got to get the block clean first, and then you've got to strip all the paint off of it, because, you know, evaporust doesn't remove paint. I mean, strip it bare, you know. And then after you do all that work, then you can put it in the evaporust, and it'll come out looking good. It's a lot of work, but I don't know what else to do when everybody's hot tanks, they don't have anything in them anymore. There's no caustic. It's not real. It's not a hot tank. I've got this block in here waiting for the evaporust to get in. I bought it from O'Reilly's. They were as cheaper than anybody, so that's great. Love to give it a little local money. This is one of those blocks I paid $100 last week and had to haul to Little Rock. And it come out rustier than when it went in. But I'm going to fix that. Just Mopar Joe is so jammed up right now on projects and building the house and building the shop, and then had to move out of his house, but the new house is not ready. They had to move into his shop, and it's bad. But that's his engine over there that we're working on. But I offered to help out on the repair of his 512. Look at what it did to the valley pan. It blew that thing up at the No Name Nationals. I think maybe he's going to have to get some bigger breathers. I hope he's got one for the other valve cover. Seems like he's got a lot of crankcase pressure. So he checked the leak down, and the leak down was 100%. But then we thought it had broke rings, or he did, and I didn't know what else to think. I mean, what else could it be? But we pulled a couple of pistons, and, well, they look fine to me. I'll go get them. How can you have zero leak down? I mean, everything looks good to me. I don't know what's going on. We've got some of those sexy new ported rings from Summit, and we're going to put those on there. But I don't know what's going on here. I don't know. It's not like the rings lost tension. They have plenty of tension. I don't know what to say. All we can do is put rings on it and put it back together. There's a local guy with a 528 Hemi that he wants to get in and replace some bad parts, and he wants to put that Edelbrock ProFlow 4 EFI on it. So that's going to be some real good footage and a good build, and then we'll have some excitement. This is nothing but a bunch of work.